Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today with Brandon,
Hello.
and we're here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
But definitely pretty much a lot of games. This is
A lot of games.
This is a jam-packed week. Games and news. So buckle your butts.
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts, as they say in Jurassic Park. So what's in the agenda? Let's see. Well, there was a Nintendo Direct last week, as foretold. And surprisingly, most of the rumors we talked about last week were real. So we got that to talk about.
Big surprise right there.
Yeah, we got
You know what wasn't real though? The
What?
Nintendo Switch 2.
Well, I mean, there's still lots of rumors floating around about that. But that's
I know. But oh my god, do I have to talk about that? Have you seen Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch?
I have. It looks like it's. I mean, you know what? Congrats on them for getting it there, I suppose. It doesn't look as nice, obviously, by quite a large margin.
Okay, all right.
But it looks like functionally it's similar. So, that's good.
In the general chat for you, good sir.
Yep, that's pretty accurate picture comparison. So sunglasses look real, so that's good. Yeah, so
his face doesn't. So...
Oh, no, not even close.
Like the animation broke. Like one, he's like disgusted by the glasses, and then in the Nintendo Switch one, he's like, "These are glasses."
So he's like, "I've been spending too long in the tanning booth, and I can't close my eyes." Yeah.
Or if you zoom in, one of his eyes is like cocked to the side. He's got his lazy eye in the Switch version.
Oh, yeah, similar.
And the muscles in his face don't work, so I can only guess the Switch version he had a stroke.
I'm sure it wasn't the A-team that worked on this one. Just gonna guess. But anyways, yeah, so what did we talk about? Nintendo Direct last week. Sony State of Play last week. Xbox had a massive leak from their FCC case. Yep. Let's see what we've been playing. F-Zero 99, the big thing. Pokemon DLC, Teal Mask. You've been playing Mortal Kombat, as you kind of just alluded to.
I have.
And then you got updates on some games. You got Lies of P. Like I said, this is going to be a jam-packed episode.
It's a huge episode.
So, all right. So let's get into it. You ready?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'll lead off first because I don't know. I got the most relevant things, I suppose. I don't know. The hot new game right now is F-Zero 99.
How you liking it? I want to play this. I have not. I've been pretty much like just going all in on Starfield to finish it, as well as playing Lies of P now that it is out. That game, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I dabbled a little bit in Mortal Kombat 1 as well. I mean, just in general, I've been tinkering with a lot of games, trying to finish some, and then playing CS2. So I have not played F-Zero 99 at all yet. It's sitting next to me. I installed it. It's ready to play, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, obviously it's a battle royale game. You're playing as, if you saw the Nintendo Direct, it's Super Nintendo like style F-Zero, and there's 99 racers on there, and you're just kind of like clawing through the bunch trying to get your best rankings and best times, and get your kills and everything. So, and the game does reward you. It's not like you necessarily have to get first. Like, this isn't like Tetris where it's like, hey, you got first, you won, whatever. I don't know, maybe it does give you a reward or something like that. But a lot of what the races are about when you're in the 99 is about beating your rivals. Like, they'll single out people who are close to your ability level, and you get extra points for knocking them out or beating them in the race. So that's kind of your goals in there. And when you're going through the races, it does kind of like a gradual elimination thing where it'll be like, all right, at the next lap, only 90 racers will move on. And, they'll eliminate, the bottom, piece. And the next one, they'll be like, oh, only 80 racers move on or whatever. If you're doing a Grand Prix, which is like a set of like maybe 5 races in a row, they'll keep on going through the next races. So it's like, you get to the next race and be like, oh yeah, 20 or 40 people will get through here. So, it really gets into, tight and competitive space. So you got all that stuff going on. It's really smooth running. If you get knocked out, so like I played one Grand Prix. I got eliminated. I think I didn't rank, and actually kind of the aforementioned race, I didn't make it to rank 40 and I ended up getting destroyed. So what ends up happening is you like turn into like a bumper car, basically. You get to drive around as a bumper car for like 30 seconds, and your goal is to hit as many of your fellow racers and slow them down as you can. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Cool. It's really creative. There's a lot of stuff in there. Like, if you get enough points, I think they showed this in the Nintendo Direct. There's like these, when cars damage each other, they'll drop like these little yellow orbs. If you get enough of them, it kind of lets you boost up to like a secret track up top, which is kind of like a shortcut area. So you're not fighting in between all the cars. There's lots of boosts up there. You can keep going.
I did see that. That was really neat.
Yeah, it's just, and it looks cool when you do it too. It's like they did a really good job with the graphic style and how they made it look like the old game, but while still having those new layers on there. There is a bunch of different kind of online modes too. I mean, you have the F-Zero 99 races, which is where you have to get golden tickets, and then you can use those to enter Grand Prix and different kind of event races that they have. So they have the Grand Prix, which is like a set of 5 races in a row with kind of a gradual elimination thing. They have team races where you're like pink team or green team, and you're kind of racing to get the best score there for your team. You're kind of one against the other. So you got all that. Then on top of that, there's a bunch of like customization options, like different color cars, different decals, things like that. So you can kind of get into the customization aspect of it too. Okay. So right now, I think it's only open with maybe like 5 or 6 different courses. Okay. And it's pretty much most of the kind of entry level courses from the Super Nintendo game. They did show that the others are coming, from what I remember. But apparently, data miners also found that there are those courses coming. They're already locked in for, I think, an update. I think maybe next month and an update in November. So like they already have this like schedule locked out and planned out. And they also found in their data about extra modes. So it sounds like they might be like single player focus modes, kind of like how Tetris 99 had like unlockable modes as well, that you could purchase. So it seems like they're doing something like that with it as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So overall, I would say it's a lot of fun. It plays really well. It kind of gets you sucked in, and it's easy to get in and kind of mess around, but it's also challenging to perfect. So there's a lot of skill level that's involved there. So it's got kind of a nice little like, middle ground. It's kind of easy to pick up and play, hard to perfect. Kind of like, F-Zero is known for. And yeah, I would recommend it. I mean, if you have NSO, you have no reason not to try it because it's free with NSO. So give it a whirl. Also, fun fact: apparently NST made this game. So it's one of Nintendo's divisions of developers, but we have not heard much from them in a long time. I think the last game that they kind of did on their own was like Project Hammer. So, which was a Wii game. Yeah, it's been a while. So it's kind of nice to see like one of their more prolific studios kind of emerge back again. So yeah. Any questions on F-Zero?
No, I did check to make sure I had it installed, and I didn't. So I've been installing it while you've been talking this whole time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Give it a try. Second thing I played, Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, the Teal Mask, which is the first DLC, came out on, I don't know, the same day as the Nintendo Direct, somewhere around the same day. Don't remember. But yeah, so I played that. So it's another, obviously single player story campaign for Pokemon Violet. It plays very similarly. You go to a different area in the map. It's it's a different map entirely. It's not like you could
Mm-hmm.
walk to where this is. Like it's kind of like you fly there or take a train in the story. I don't remember. But anyways, yeah. So you're like on a school trip and they're like, hey, we're gonna go to this, different area and we're gonna see these new Pokemon or whatever. So you're going and doing that. It definitely, I would say, in the grand scheme of DLC that I've seen already for Pokemon comparatively, which I mean, really the only comparative DLC we have is Sword and Shield. This already seems to be better. So I've read that the kind of time to completion is about 6 hours, which seems about right for this first DLC in terms of like finishing the story stuff. So if you boot it up, let's say you finish your Pokedex in Violet and Scarlet, when you boot up this game, your Pokedex will have the new Pokedex because it has a Pokedex for the new area. There's 200 Pokemon, and 100 of which you already have gotten from the original game. So there's 100 new Pokemon in this area. So some of them include some of the kind of the story Pokemon that they have in, kind of about the focus of the Teal Mask and that new Pokemon that wears it. You go and kind of go around. There's like a festival atmosphere. There's, I think, those 4 new Pokemon, and then there's like there's like a new regional variant of one Pokemon, 2 new regional variants of the Pokemon. I think that sounds about right. So, a bunch of different ones kind of in there. And then, just a bunch of old favorites are back as well. So, you got a lot to kind of check out and see there. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I like what I've played so far. I think I'm like 90% of the way through the story for the DLC.
Okay.
So what's there I thought was pretty enjoyable. I mean, it does kind of do some, forced backtracking, but you kind of just like in the other game, in the main game, it's kind of this big-ish area where you can go through and explore, and there's a bunch of different Pokemon environments and things to see and catch. So it is pretty enjoyable with what they have there. I don't think it does anything groundbreaking compared to Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. It's kind of more of what you already know. The story is just enjoyable, and there's some new Pokemon to catch. So you do get that aspect of it. The game has not seemed to take too much of an improvement performance-wise, probably since the last time most people have played it. So, post patches, so it is a little bit smoother than say from launch, but doesn't seem like they added much optimization here in the DLC, because I definitely had some moments where even I was like, this is chugging. I can see frame rates, and I almost never
I could
see them.
see frame rates.
I can see frame rates. I'm almost oblivious to them, so if I see them, they're very obvious. So, but otherwise, honestly, it is fairly functional. I'm not like had any like game breaking bugs or glitches or freezes or anything like too particularly out of the ordinary. Just kind of the usual optimization stuff that if you've been playing this game, you already know. It's kind of chugs sometimes. But otherwise, that's really all I have to say about it. Do you have any questions on that part of it?
No, it just sounds like what was it that did that? But which one was it that did that before? Because there was another one that let you just go to a completely new island. Was it the last one?
Yeah, Sword and Shield did.
Yeah.
So Sword and Shield, the first DLC for Sword and Shield, you had to go to like a new island, and it had like a camping dojo on it, or not a camping, a karate dojo. What I
did not play it, but I didn't know that it exists. Probably from Nintendo Direct, if I had to guess.
Yeah, presumably. I would say, if you're going to compare the two, this one has a much better and more concise story. The other one had some kind of annoying bullshit. A. B, it kind of had a hook in there that, because it had there's like a legendary Pokemon in there, and it has 2 forms. So if you really want both forms of it, you have to kind of play through it twice, which is kind of annoying. So, you do have that aspect of it. Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, this one is significantly better. The other one I thought had some kind of douchey side quests to go through to kind of progress the story along. It had kind of some extra features where you kind of were collecting like a limited time items that they're time sensitive, I guess is probably the best way to do it. It's like, hey, if you want to upgrade this thing, well, you can, but you have to collect X amount of these items and only X amount, or produced in real time per day. So yeah,
that sounds pretty shit.
Yeah, it does sound pretty shit. It was pretty shit. So this one, honestly, seems like it's a much better game. It seems like a much better DLC, much better thought out, much more enjoyable, much better story. And apparently the story in this one too, which I can't really speak to yet because I've not finished it, but at least from what I read, makes it sound like it does logically carry over into the second DLC, which is coming sometime this winter.
Okay.
So, there's supposed to be story hooks that will, keep going, as opposed to Sword and Shield, where that first island was its own thing, and then the second area was its own thing, and they really didn't have any follow through between the two. It's just kind of like, I'm gonna go somewhere else and explore, with not really any kind of thing. I mean, some of the books here you can already kind of see, because it's like, you talk about how you're on the field trip at the Blueberry Academy, and I think isn't that where they said you were going in the second DLC anyways, the Blueberry Academy?
I think so. Yeah.
So, so you kind of meet like one of the teachers and some of those classmates here, and presumably if it is where you're going, then you go back to school with them in the next DLC. So, so there is that. I will say though, I kind of gave myself a little bit of a challenge when I started this up, just because I booted up, and because I had been doing like the terror raids, like all my like team Pokemon was like level 100. So everything that just came up to me was just getting leveled. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just send them to my Pokemon box or Pokemon Home. And so I unloaded my Pokedex from this game into Pokemon Home, and just whatever was left over was whatever I had. And then I kind of just gave myself a rule just to use Pokemon that are kind of exclusive to Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. So yeah, I kind of gave myself a little bit of a handicap, and all of a sudden I went from being super over-leveled to kind of under-leveled and struggling. So it made a big difference. It was just kind of a little bit more challenge there. But it always does that kind of like, I don't know, I only lost one battle, and it was with a character who was like, I always find this dumb, and Pokemon games do this a lot, where they're like, hey, if I beat you, I get whatever. And then they do beat you, and then it's just like you pass out, and they're like, you just go back and challenge them again. Be like, yeah, no, asshole, I'm not giving you what I said. I'm taking it back. Like, that's how I always feel like when that happens, and that's definitely what happened here. You're like, yeah, no, I'll let you have that Pokemon, and then you lose, and you're like, no, fuck that, I'm not, it's mine. So yeah, yeah, but otherwise, yeah, it's good. I said if you like it. If you like the Pokemon, you like the GLs, you want to play a little bit more of it, yeah, it seems to be a good way to do it. I like the new Pokemon that I'm really excited for. I don't remember if it was in the Direct. I think it might have been somewhere else but they did show off. When Pokemon Violet and Scarlet came out, we got that kind of new Suicune, and now they have kind of the new. I think it was. I don't remember which one it was. They showed off either a new Entei or a new Raikou, and I can't remember which one it is.
Okay.
But they apparently they're just chugging along on the dinosaur themes. So it's kind of like, it looks like a Brontosaurus. And it's got like a big old long neck. Yeah, no, it's Raikou. It's got a big old long neck, and it's got its little like purple frilly thing. Instead of it being like a cape, it's kind of fluffed around its neck. Yeah, so I like it. So yeah, so we got that to look forward to, and I don't know. Apparently, though, the only way to, if you miss the Suicune, or what, I don't remember what's Walking Wake or whatever weird name they gave that Pokemon. If you miss the event where like the Terror Raid was going on, apparently that was the only way to get it. So I don't know if they're going to bring it back later in the DLCs, but yeah, they're just kind of like, yeah, sorry, see you later. I'm like, oh, it kind of sucks. So I don't know. That's all I got.
Okay.
You want to talk about your stuff?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Right. Tell me all about it.
Okay. So basically, we're gonna start with the most recent thing I've played, which would be Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay.
I've been playing this on PC, so you got your normal PC problems. I would say this one's fine. There's no real performance issues. You just got the normal, some slight stuttering because of the way it's designed. And this, that, and the other. Normal PC bullshit. I've seen it way worse on the Switch version, so whatever. But the game itself, let's get down to the brass tacks and talk about the game itself. So I played a little bit of Invasions, and I would like to talk a moment about Invasions.
Okay.
So Invasions is essentially like almost like a game board where you have like little spots that have, and each one of the little circles on said game board as you're moving around it is a different kind of mission.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like just trying to go to different parts of the game board to collect items to unlock other different parts of said game board.
Okay.
And it's pretty neat. It seems like each one's like themed after something. So like the first part of the game board was based off of I can't even think about it right now. Johnny Cage's. Yeah. Johnny Cage's like mansion. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was really cool. And Johnny Cage's mansion was essentially, I'm trying to find because like I posted it for someone to see. So I'm trying to find it so that I can download it and show you. Save as. There we go. I found it. Save. No. We put that under videos. Save. Okay. All right. So yeah, it was Johnny Cage's mansion. Why can't I upload this? Oh, because it's 78 megabytes, and you can't upload anything over 25 megabytes into Discord. Fuck off, Discord. Go fuck yourself. All right, anyway. So Johnny Cage's mansion, you're like fighting, going around, exploring different areas. Like you get a key that unlocks his dojo, and then you go back to the other tiles where you were at earlier, and you unlock that. And each like tile that you fight on takes you into like a 1v1 fight, but the mechanics of this is slightly different because you kind of have the Marvel vs. Capcom thing going on, like the original, where you can bring in fighters that assist you, but you can't swap out and control those fighters. You can only bring them in to assist you. So like at the beginning, you get to pick who your fighter is going to be, and then you also get to pick their assist. And their assist, you press like right bumper or right trigger or whatever, and R1, that's what I meant to say. R1 or whatever. And then that person will come out and they'll like do a hit based on where you're like pressing the D-pad up, down, left, right, that sort of thing. And it's a different attack based on which way you're pressing the D-pad. And then you can combo off of their hit that they have just done. And like it's a nifty little way to get a combo started. But you also can do like a specialty combo once you get a person gets you down enough, like you lose enough health, you can then pop off this special combo where you just press like left bumper, right bumper, and then you do like a combo attack with your partner. And it's basically an X-ray move where you're both doing the X-ray move together. And it's kind of neat. I really dig like the different areas you could go through in said mansion when you were playing in that one, and then like you go on to another place and it's a different portal, and each one's themed after a different character. And the actual combat of the game itself, I mean, I think it's really good. I think the fighting's very good here. Don't have enough information to give like full thoughts on it, but like I don't know if it's as good as like Mortal Kombat 11 or 10 yet, but it does feel really nice to play. And the partner character does add a lot to the gameplay, I think.
Okay.
So essentially I've played like one whole round, like one board. So I completed the entire Johnny Cage board. And then I also played several towers, which towers are from like the old Mortal Kombat games where you just fight a group of characters going up the tower, and sometimes you're introduced to like different like handicaps, or someone's like stronger, or maybe there's like stage hazards or whatever as you're going up the tower and fighting those. And just in general, the gameplay itself seems very solid from like I'd say from like the first 2 to 3 hour standpoint.
Okay.
I'd have to like put more time into it to see for myself how I feel about it like later on. But in general, it's a lot of fun. It's good. Like I don't really have that much bad to say about it. I don't know if it's hooking me as much as like Street Fighter 6 did. Because like Street Fighter 6, when I got into that game and just started it right away, it just like it hooked its claws into me immediately. This one's taking a little bit more time, but I do feel like with Mortal Kombat being a bit more of a technical fighter, it does take time to kind of learn everything. So I'm gonna wait a little bit before I give like a full impressions on it. But right now, early impressions, it's good. It's very fun. I enjoy it quite a lot.
That's excellent. Yeah, I mean, at least from what I've seen, gameplay wise, it did look like it was pretty excellent. But I also did, just I guess your comparison, Street Fighter 6 was also excellent. So kind of tough when you have that many good fighting games out at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean the game from the way it looked very nice. It looked very stylized.
Well, we're basically getting our refresh on all of the fighting games, because we just got Mortal Kombat 1, we got Street Fighter 6 earlier this year, and then the beginning of next year we'll be getting Tekken 8. So all the big three, when it comes to fighting games, are going to have their refresh, their new game for like several years. So I like the direction that all the fighting games have been going in for this new generation of consoles. I just dig it. I dig that they're doing new and different things with the game, and I like that there's a lot of both in Street Fighter and now Mortal Kombat 1. There's a lot of callbacks to older games that is really fun and really cool. Like in Johnny Cage's mansion, which I was trying to show you, but it won't let me upload the video. He has a arcade room, and in the arcade room you've got like a bunch of different Midway games. So you've got like Rampage, like the original Rampage, and then you've got like all the Mortal Kombat games. And it has like the arcade carpet and everything, and even has like the original Mortal Kombat logo as like a big LED sign. It looks really neat. I wanted to show you that, but neither Facebook nor Discord will let me upload you the video. So yes, I can.
Well, I'm sure you'll find a way one of these days. But,
I'm already working on it right now.
All right, what else?
I'm going to talk about Lies of P. I love this game. Like, who would have guessed, right? Yeah. A Souls-like title that I really enjoy. Oh no, it must be really a day ending in Y. Yeah. So this is. How much do you know about this game?
Not too much, surprisingly.
Okay. So this is a Souls-like title. It's called Lies of P because this is a game about a dark, gritty retelling of Pinocchio, and it's called Lies of P because it's the lies of Pinocchio. So, for instance, at the beginning of the game, you make it to this like one hotel, and they don't allow puppets in because there has been a mass like hysteria where these puppets have like gone on killing rampages, and you're like the one outlier that hasn't gone feral and started killing everyone essentially. And they ask at the beginning like, hey, are you human? And you have the option of being like yes or no. And I just straight up said yes, and the game was like, all right, you've told your first lie. Don't know how this is going to play into the whole mechanic of the gameplay, but it's keeping track of me lying to people as Pinocchio, which is very weird. Very, very weird. And I don't know where we're going with that. Super cool, though. The combat is very much Bloodborne. Like, this is very much just Bloodborne. If you wanted Bloodborne, but you couldn't get a Bloodborne 2 or Bloodborne Remastered, then you just play Lies of P. It's very fucking good. I've been really enjoying this one. There's a few things here that I think sets it apart from other Souls-like titles, such as the ability to take your weapons, and each weapon has a handle. It has a handle, which essentially does the elements, like so fire, lightning, ice, that sort of thing. And then it also has a blade. So, like, you know, your swords, your big, huge fuck-off axes, your big clubs, that sort of thing. And in this one, you can actually combine those together, and you could swap them out. So you can combine different things onto your weapon and create different kinds of weapons from the ones that you've gotten throughout the game. And by doing so, it does allow you to change up your playstyle quite a bit, in all honesty. And it's pretty cool. Because if you've like +1 to any of those weapons or any of those handles when you've upgraded those weapons in the past, that carries over when you take it apart and then put it together with a different weapon. And it's pretty nifty. So I was able to create like a short handle, which I had for my my rapier, and then combine that with an electric shock stick, and it's fucking lit, dude.
Yeah.
It's super neat. It's super cool. I really, really, really dig it.
Sounds like it's a neat concept of the game.
It very much so is, and there's actually a few other concepts here that are very different. So, say you've used all of your healing potions, for instance, and you don't have any more healing potions. You're in the middle of a fight. The game kind of incentivizes you to then be more risky and try to do more damage to your opponent. Because if you have no more healing potions, but you deal enough damage, there is slowly a meter that's filling up on your healing jar or jug or whatever. And if you deal enough damage to your opponent that you're fighting, you will recover a healing potion that you can then use in the middle of a fight. So like you can do that as a way of like, oh, I don't have any more flasks to heal myself. But if I play this game hyper aggressive and like just try the fuck out of this and don't try to play it like turtling where you're like hiding and from the attacks and that sort of thing, and actually just get up in there and try to hit them as much as humanly possible, you do have the ability to regain a health potion that you can then use to heal yourself. So it's kind of a risk and reward sort of deal there with the way that works. And I super like that. There's also a lot of costumes that are kind of tied into the whole Pinocchio theme as well. For instance, I killed one of the donkey boys, like the guys that got turned into a donkey in the original. Yeah, so one of them was like assaulting Geppetto, because, all the murderous puppets and whatnot. And I was like, hey, you needed to cut that out, stop messing with Geppetto. And then he was like, or what are you going to do? Oh, I've heard of you. You're that puppet that thinks he's a real boy. And then you like fight the fucker, and then you're able to like kill the donkey guy. But he had like a donkey mask and like a donkey outfit and everything. And when you kill him, you can then take his outfit and then you can wear it and be like the donkey boys. It's actually super fucking neat, some of the like things they have here. And I really dig it. In Bloodborne, there were a lot of little characters that were off the beaten path that were never like, oh, I have a quest for you. You just kind of found them like in a back alley, like you talk to someone and it's like, hey, I have a quest, but it didn't really tell you it's a quest. It's like, hey, go do this thing. And it's kind of got that here as well. Like I found this one woman that was crying at her windowsill, and she said that she lost her child and that it was somewhere in the like government district, and I need to go find it. And I go and find it, and come to find out her child is a fucking puppet and is dead. And so I bring her back the puppet, and I performed another lie. And this lie that I told her, yeah, your baby looks beautiful, it's adorable. And because of that, I was then gifted with a like what they call humanity, but humanity in this game is just a music disc, which then brings me to another thing that I think really stands out in this game. Holy shit, the music disc that you get from these people, you can then listen to them. And they are all actual like soundtracks, actual songs that you can listen to while playing said game. And they are so well made. So I was listening to this one song and it was fucking incredible. Like it came out of nowhere. It was the one that from giving like this woman back her baby that was the puppet and everything. And it was so cool. Humanity song. I want to find this song. It was so good. Oh yeah, Feel was the name of the song, I think. And like it has like because like you have to play it on a record player. Here, I'm posting this in general for you. You can listen to it a little bit.
Okay.
And like you hear like the static of it being played in the record player, and you can also hear like the way it's like presented. It's just so well done. Like the music that you get from doing these little side quest things, I was like, what the fuck? This is cool. So yeah, this is super neat. This is the kind of thing that I really like. The world building that's done through the music as well as through the game itself, and just like exploring the world. Awesome. Love it. So yeah, this is a game that I'm going to keep putting as much into as humanly possible, because I really dig what they're going for here. It really does feel like the next best thing to having a Bloodborne 2. It does feel like it's really trying its best to like put its all out there and try to just actually be like Bloodborne, and it's doing a good job with it. So
that's a good compliment.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that's really difficult to do just in general, right? But like, I think they're nailing it like pretty hard here, in all honesty. I do think that this is easier than your normal Souls likes. I know, shocker. Many people don't feel the same way, but I do play a lot of Souls likes, as you know. So, if you're a Souls fan, I do think you're not going to have really that big an issue with this game, because I do think it's a much easier time than your normal Souls game. But doesn't mean it isn't hard at times or isn't like difficult. But I do think there's a lot here for someone who isn't necessarily a big Souls fan to really appreciate. So I was able to get that picture for you, by the way. So I posted that picture for you of the Mortal Kombat 1 thing I was talking about.
Oh, that looks great.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can see how it's like a game board, and you see the other game spots back there in the background, like his pool and everything. And
yeah.
Yeah,
it looks like little tokens, maybe.
So yeah, I would say Lies of P is excellent. You should definitely try it out. It is on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, go give it a go. I highly recommend this one. It's like, I was thinking it was going to be like, oh, we have Bloodborne at home, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's going through the motions, but it actually does feel like Bloodborne in some cases. Like the way you have these extra items that you use for like your secondary arm, and your secondary arm has like what is essentially the thing that interrupts people from Bloodborne, which was where you could shoot your guns, but here you shoot a puppet string out instead, and it makes sense. It's very brooding and kind of depressive atmosphere, and it's great. But I wanted to bring up this thing here because I had this discussion with someone else about this game and about Souls-like games in general. Have you played any Souls-likes, Mike?
Bloodborne.
Okay. Do you remember how in those games you cannot pause?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, so you can't pause in all Souls-likes. I'll just go ahead and tell you that right now. Pretty much in every Souls-like game, there is no pause button. And my friend and I didn't really get into an argument, but we had a discussion about this. He said that you should be able to pause anywhere in any game, period. That's just a long and short of it. There should be no reason to not have an actual pause option in a game. And my thoughts on the entire thing, and I'll go ahead and present you my thoughts because I wrote it out actually. I think that is a stupid thing to think for very specific reasons. Like a lot of people are like, it's dumb to not have that basic function in a game. Why does that? How is not having a pause button tied to the gameplay? And I think that it is tied to the gameplay, and I think that it's actually important to the gameplay overall. So essentially what I said is Souls or Souls-like titles are designed with the idea of that oppressive atmosphere, and your only real escape in that game is those hub world areas that you make it to, those bonfires, that big hub world where you can create your weapons and this, that, and the other. And I think that if you just added in the option to pause anywhere in the game at any point in time, that would cheapen and in fact lessen the act of having a hub world and having those bonfires and having those other places that you could save at, that you could rest at, that you could have those like moments where you customize your weapons or whatever canonically, and that it's eccentric to the game design philosophy that there is no pause feature in the game. And that was my entire thoughts on that sort of thing. And my friend was just like, that's really fucking stupid. What does atmosphere matter? I just want to have fun in the game. Let me pause anywhere. And I was like, I think that's stupid. But not stupid. I just think that's an awful mentality to have when it comes to something like that. And that I gave a fair explanation for the reason why there isn't a pause feature in Souls-like games, in Souls-born games in general. and why it makes sense with the way the game is designed overall. Where do you stand on something like this?
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting question. I would say, part of me. Well, okay, actually, let's rewind because I did have one question while you're thinking about this because I don't remember this. So let's say I was playing Bloodborne and I suspended the game. What happens?
I don't know. That's actually a good question. I don't actually know what happens if you suspend the game in something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, if it just pauses, then who fucking cares? Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's kind of one aspect of it. Even if you look at another game like say like Animal Crossing, if I a game that just doesn't pause because you're playing in real time. Granted, you're not going to die if you like walk away from the game, but I mean, if I just get done playing, I just suspend it and shut it down, and I turn it back up. The game's just like, all right, X amount of time passed, whatever. Just kind of picks up where it left off. It does its thing. So I mean, if the game lets you suspend, like if Bloodborne lets you suspend, without any penalty, then this is kind of a who fucking cares kind of question. Because by default, it's more of a system level thing. It should pause the game, hold it where it is, and realistically, just when you
unpause specifically when we were talking about this, we mean like being able to press the start button on your controller and pause, get up and go do something, and then come back to the game.
I know, but all that. The only difference is you press the home button, then you get up and do your thing, and then you come back to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not like we're talking like a terrible difference, Or do you
think so I never thought about it the way you're putting it, but I would also point out that these Souls games that like for instance Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, this game that's on Lies of P, like we're talking about here, these are games that also exist on PC.
Yeah.
That don't really have the feature you're talking about.
Okay.
So I would argue that since I was talking about someone that plays on PC, it wouldn't be valid everywhere. And I was talking with someone that plays games on PC. And his specific point was this game should have the ability for me to pause. If I want to pause in the middle of a boss fight, I should be able to do that. And it's stupid that I can't. And I said that really takes the tension out of said boss fight. That really takes kind of ruins the atmosphere overall. And in general, I think that actually detracts from the game as a whole when you're talking about these Souls-like games. I do think, like, if it's another kind of game, sure, I get it. But when it's something like this, it's designed from the ground up for you to feel like things are out to get you, because they are. And the only place you're supposed to feel like you are safe is in your hub world. And adding a pause feature anywhere would kind of cheapen the experience of even having that hub world. The hub world's supposed to be like a sanctuary. It's like a place that you do everything that you need to do, and that you can also know you can get up, you can relax, there's nothing to worry about here. But when you go outside that hub world, you're supposed to feel like you're on edge. You're supposed to be worried about what's around the corner. You're supposed to not be able to, just be able to pause and think about what you're doing. You're supposed to be in the moment, in the atmosphere that the game is presenting to you, and not outside of it. And my buddy was like, well, what if like someone makes a phone call and I have to answer a very important phone call, or someone dies or whatever in real life and I have to deal with that? I'm like, well, then you die in the game. It's not that deep. You just come back to the game later. If you're making the decision to put a game in front of something that's that important, that's a you problem. That's not a design problem with the game itself.
Yeah. No, and I don't, if you're thinking about it, I guess it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I do agree with you fundamentally. This is how they built the game. This is the experience that they want it to be. It's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like there's a good movie example for something like that, where it's like, hey, this is how they intended this movie to be watched. If you want to watch a different way, that's kind of fine, but poo-poo to you, we don't really like it. And I mean, I think that's valid. On the other hand, though, there's a part of me that's also like, I can kind of understand, maybe if you, I don't know. I guess in his thing though, it's almost like a fringe excuse. So it's like, well, okay, realistically, how often are you having emergencies that you need to pause the game that often that you're
Well,
worried
his other
about
thing
it?
was like, I just don't want to have to not be able to pause. I want to be able to pause anywhere. And
Yeah.
if I can, I will mod that into the PC version of the game, and then I'll pause anywhere. And then my thoughts on that is, when you're going out of your way to do that, that is your decision. You have all the more power to you. If you want to go that far and actually do that, that's your decision. And I was like, I'll even take it a step further. If there was an accessibility option put into these games where you could turn on the ability to pause, but you had to do it before you started the game, I would accept that as an actual accessibility option that I would be okay with. However,
interestingly, that was going to be
oh, yeah.
my suggestion. Was the same idea, if you're going to have it, do something like that. But sorry, you can finish your thought.
I was going to say, however, I would also much rather play the game as it's intended. So I would not use that accessibility option.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it would be there for others if they wanted it.
I would say, if you were going to do it, like I was going to say, if you're going to do it, it should come with like a consequence as well. Like, oh, you don't get achievements or you don't get, weapon drops are different, less frequent or something. Balance it out a little bit. I don't think the developers would do it just because that's a lot of work, to kind of be like, all right, some asshole wants to pause the game. Let's kind of rebalance that. But I do agree. If you're going to do it, do as an accessibility option and, make it clear that it is kind of the lesser version of the game. So.
Yeah, I think that would be my go-to. Just make it clear when you choose that option that this is not the way the game was intended to be played. Like, make that clear. Don't take away their achievements. Don't take away their, any of that stuff. Just make it clear to them you are making the experience for yourself lesser by choosing this option. Do you still wish to continue? And that would be...
I know. You say don't take away the achievements. I feel like that I would be very strongly opposed to them getting achievements if that was an accessibility option in a game like that. Reason being, if you can, if you come up to a boss and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and all of a sudden you can pause and be like, all right, let me pull up a YouTube video to see how to beat this fucker. And they're like, okay, clear the boss, whatever.
Well, hold on. I will. As someone that plays a lot of Souls games, I will say, when you're coming to a boss in a Souls game. It is a very obvious big door that's like, okay, I know bullshit's coming, so I should look this up ahead of time if I want. Like, that's something that someone can already do. That's all I was going to say is my example.
Well, think of a different kind of example then, where it's like, hey, you have to get through this challenging area to, do this achievement or whatever. And, all of a sudden you find the area, you can just kind of pause and, take your time and, get a little bit further, inch yourself through, pause again, advance the video, see what's going on, do a little bit more, pause again. It does take away from some of those kind of more complex achievements. I mean, granted, bosses weren't a great example for this anyways, because realistically you die, you can just come back and watch a video and figure out how to do it. But my point was just more so that, it takes a lot of the skill out of it when you can pause and think things through and, really plan things out. And
I do think that as well, yeah.
You don't have the ability to...
You're not on the edge, you're not having to think, on the fly. You're just like...
So I would say, as compared to, if a game is balanced around its achievements and you're giving someone accessibility option that, gives them an advantage to get them, I don't think they deserve them. That's just where I am on it. But because it depends on what achievements are. If they're lame achievements like, hey, spend 5 hours in the game and defeat this boss, sure, whatever, take them. Who cares? Everyone's going to beat it anyways. But if, it's kind of more things like that, then, whatever. On the flip side, though, another kind of more extreme example, I would say, what does your buddy think about online games? Does he not play them because he's worried? He
actually made a joke about that because he was like, yes, I know you can't do this in an MMO, but you know what? No, fuck it. You know what? Pause should be also available in an MMO. Anytime anyone pauses in an MMO, it pauses it for everyone in the game. And then we had a conversation jokingly about that. He's like, yeah, I think if that was an actual thing, no one would ever get to play an MMO.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. So, yeah, that's exactly what it would be. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think, really based on the game, it should be there. But I also, like I said, I think it's reasonable to have as an accessibility option. Interestingly, the more I think about it, because obviously I primarily play consoles. And when you think about something like the Switch, I'm sure that the Dark Souls on the Switch lets you hit the
probably
and just close
probably.
It. It's a handheld. You can't be fucking around being like, oh, you know what, I have to do this. Yeah, I've been playing on the plane and I landed or whatever. Let me beat this boss fast and run back to the fireplace so I can save. Yeah, no, you kind of just you need it more in something that's portable and things like that. So
yeah. So yeah, I guess that's my conversation about that and my thoughts on that. It's an interesting thought because like one of the first things he brought up was like I think the reason why like Dark Souls and Demon Souls do it because you can be invaded by people, so you got the online element there. So technically, it's an always online game, and it needs the ability to not have a pause feature in it with something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He's like, well, this game doesn't have online features. I'm like, yeah, but I do think that it's not necessarily just the fact that it's an online game that has the invasion features and everything, because if I turn the game to offline mode, which you can do and Elden Ring and Dark Souls and any of those other titles, you can turn that option off. It still doesn't let you pause the game. And I think when you take that into account, it's just a atmospheric choice that developers made. He's like, I don't give a fuck what the developers wanted. And I was like, well, I do. I do. I do care about what the developers wanted. I do care about their vision. I do care about that.
Yeah, as you should. And I mean, granted, there are people that go through and hack games or whatever, so I mean, I guess whatever.
Yeah.
Mileage may vary, but if that's how you want to play, then that's how you want to play, and that's fine.
Yeah, he told me he would straight up mod it out if he ever played it on PC. I was like, okay, that's your choice. If you're gonna go that far, that's your decision. You've made that decision, but you didn't make that decision for me, and that's my main thing. Like, I don't want someone else to make those decisions for me. If the developer doesn't want that, then that's fine. If you want to do it by modding it in, that's also fine. But I don't want someone that wants something to force a developer to change things specifically for them. It just seems really shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I mean that for the people that are like, there should be an easy mode for all Dark Souls games also. Nah.
You don't need that.
There shouldn't.
Okay. What else you got?
Lies of P is a really good game. I just wanted to go ahead and cap it off with that. I'll tell you that right now. All right, let's talk about Starfield.
Okay.
All right. So, I have played a lot of Starfield since we last talked. I have experienced a lot of the game. I have lost characters, and I have now come to very many conclusions.
Okay.
That I would like to share, while being as vague as possible and not spoiling said game.
Okay.
There have been many times in this game where I have attempted to make a decision. The game gives me the option to make said decision. I make the decision, and then my party member stops me from making the decision that I just made, that the game asked me if I wanted to make. Thus, completely invalidating the RPG aspect of this RPG. The role-playing aspect of this RPG is not a role that I can play. It's only the role that Bethesda allows me to play. And, as someone who has played Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Skyrim, Oblivion, this was not as big an issue in any of those titles that I just listed as it is in Starfield. I don't know why they decided to go this route in Starfield, but there are many moments where, like, if you attempt to do something slightly bad, the game tells you can do it. And then when you choose to do it, the game then slaps you on the wrist and essentially says, that's bad. We're not going to do that. And I don't like that. I don't like that. It feels really, really shitty to me. I don't like that a lot. I think I mentioned before about the person when I accidentally shot a civilian in space and then they just left my party randomly while we were still in space. Did I tell you about that?
Yes, you did.
Okay, yeah. There have been other moments where I'm given an option. I accept the option. I go through with the option. And then my party member leaves. Just leaves. They're done. They've had it up to here with me. I've made one mistake, or I've done one bad thing with them, and they don't like it, so they fuck off. This sucks. when it comes down to something like that, and you get this sort of option, and then it just kind of rips it away from you, this sucks.
Yeah.
Starfield, I think, is lesser than the games that came before it. Now, from a technical standpoint that I was talking about before, I had already mentioned that I was giving them a pass because it's Creation Engine and they don't want to change their fucking engine. Yeah. But what I will not give them on a pass, what I will not give them a pass on is railroading me into the decisions they want me to make. That is not what I will give you a pass on. I am not okay with that sort of shit. And it's not good. So I was talking with my buddy about it, and I shared some of my frustrations with the game and how it handles moments like this. And I told him where I was, and I told him everything that I'd already done. He's like, "You've got 3 hours left of the entire game." I was like, "What? It feels like I'm just getting started." He's like, "No, you're about to finish it." And I was like, "That's fucking shit. This is nothing. The entire story is a fucking nothing burger if I'm about to finish this." Meaning, the main story that is hyped up for so long goes fucking nowhere.
Of course.
And it's not good. Okay. And the side stories, the way you have to just, fumble around getting around your main party members that you have in order to play said side stories without them getting mad at you is just kind of frustrating. I really don't like that element of things, and it really sucks. There's also a decision you make, I guess not even halfway, I guess 75% of the way through the fucking game, that you didn't know you made until you made it. Mm-hmm. And when you make that decision, it's a very powerful and important decision that in no way, shape, or form is it telling you that you're making a very powerful and important decision. Me, I kind of saw the writing on the walls, and I kind of knew what was coming because I understand Bethesda and their logic behind things. So I was like, we're choosing this because I'm like 99% sure if we choose the other thing, then those people will live and the other people will die. And sure the fuck enough, me choosing the other one made me go to one group of people, and then another group fucking perished. And and I knew it was coming because the writing was on the walls for me. Because it's just kind of generic,
obvious. Yeah,
kind of generic, kind of obvious. But the game never really spells it out. So like, if you're playing this yourself and you're like new to these sort of things, or you don't play a lot of games like this, you'd probably just be like, "Why did that happen?" And yeah, it doesn't really tell you why that happened. It also doesn't tell you that you could stop it in certain ways, but no matter what, someone has to die. And that kind of sucks.
Annoying. Yeah.
Just like, no matter what, at some point in time in this game, you have to get a bounty put on you. You don't have the option to not get the bounty put on you. You can't get around it. Trust me, I tried for 6 hours.
Jesus.
I reloaded saves, I loaded back in, I went back in time to a previous save, I did things differently, I killed the man, I didn't kill the man, I snuck in to take the item, I did all this shit, but no matter what, somehow I was always fucking caught and given a bounty. And when I looked it up, it was like, yeah, that's story. And I was like, fucking really? So, with all of that in mind, when me being about like 93% done with this game, I am going to say this is a fucking 6 or 5 at best.
I think last time you knocked it down to a 6. So
yeah, this is like a 5. This is like a 5. This is not a terrible game, but it fights you every step of the way. Yeah, every step of the way. This game is fighting me when I want to enjoy it. The gunplay is great. The shipbuilding is great. The actual lore, when you look around and learn the lore and learn how different places act and everything, it's fucking great. There is a great game here, but the actual main story of this game railroads you so fucking hard that it just sucks dick. So much so. And it really upsets me because at the beginning, it feels like it's going to be so much more than it is. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure I already know how this game ends. I've already made a prediction. Like I looked at Katie when a certain thing happened, and I said something to her, because I knew that that's essentially what was going to happen at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. This is what the actual story is going to be at the end of it. Still waiting for that to come to fruition. I'm pretty sure it will. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm right. So there's that.
Well, you find out soon enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from a technical standpoint, this game's great. It's Bethesda's least buggy game I have ever experienced. I think from a gunplay standpoint, this is the best gunplay that Bethesda has ever had in one of their games. I think from an RPG standpoint, this is the worst RPG that Bethesda has ever made.
Yeah, that sounds... I mean, it doesn't sound like there's a lot compelling underneath the...
But that's the problem. There is the oxygen system, the way there's different kind of planetary hazards.
I didn't mean those.
The way you can build the ship, and you can do this, and you can like make individual little quarters, and you can make whatever you want for your ship. The way you can design it, and there's like rules, but you can kind of break them in certain ways, and it works really, really well. The way you add different cargo holds onto your ship, and you're able to carry more items, so you essentially can continuously get more and more stuff, and not have to like sell it off or have issues with the way you keep items and that sort of thing. All of this stuff is a really great idea. The different factions, really neat. There's different ideas here. Really cool. I like the fact that one of them is just, you have a house. Pay it off and you have a house. Super neat. I like all of these elements. But then the game that all these elements are built on top of is just bad. And it's super annoying. Like, super annoying. I'm so glad that I got this with Game Pass, because right now this ain't it. This just ain't it, and that really sucks. Because I had high hopes for this at the beginning, because it definitely presented me with a lot of stuff that made me very interested and that I enjoyed a lot. And then it kind of ripped it away from me. Everyone that likes to complain about the loading screens or the facial animations or the, I don't know, graphics bullshit or whatever, all of those complaints are stupid compared to what's actually wrong with this game. And what's actually wrong with this game is that it's just not a good game. And that sucks. That sucks a lot.
Yeah, disappointing, especially for as hyped as it was.
I want to put more effort in and explore more side quests, because as with everything else, the side quests are always the best part, but I'm gonna have to ignore the main story in order to explore these side quests. So when I start another save, if I do, I'll use that to explore the side quests, which I know are better than the main game. But right now, this main game, this main quest line, it's dog shit. It's really bad, and it's not worth your time. If you want to fuck around in this and just explore the world and explore the side quest, I think this would be pretty fucking cool. But just ignore the main game. Hey, don't follow the main plot. It's just not worth your time.
Just fuck around.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel about that. And then I told you I'd give you a slight update on CS2. And which I will do now. They have again released 4 more updates since we last talked. They are really pushing hard to get this game ready by time it is going to launch. I do think they're actually going to launch this game at the end of the month of September. I do think that if they keep pushing and keep doing what they are doing, and maybe they have one big patch like we talked about before to fix a lot of the overarching issues, that this game will be in a good state, because they are actually making a lot of effort to put this game in a good state. They do very much care about the game, and you could tell. And for that, I'm very happy to say good on them. I'm very happy about that. All right, now let's move to the actual big part of this podcast this week, which is going to be talking about the multiple fucking directs that there were.
Well, 1 direct, 1 state of play, and 1 massive leak.
Yes. Xbox technically had their own state of play.
Basically.
All right.
All right. Well, let's start. I mean, I guess we'll go chronological. Nintendo was first.
Nintendo Direct.
Xbox leak. So, so Nintendo Direct. I'm gonna kind of pick and choose what I talk about here because there's a lot of extra stuff in there that I don't really care about.
I'll grab the things that you may not care about that I did care about, if there are any there.
Okay. So Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC, they showed off kind of the single player DLC that they have going on. They didn't show off too much. Kind of looks like they got some more challenge mode stuff with some different kind of like attribute builds that you can kind of do. I guess maybe that's a good way to skills you can kind of upgrade. It looks like fun. It reminds me a lot of, at least from what I could see, the not Octopath. What the fuck's it called? Octoling expansion, whatever it was called for Splatoon 2. Yeah, no, I think that should be pretty cool. It looks pretty artsy, so I don't know. I'm down. I'm excited for it.
I mean, it really does look like it's just like, hey, so you know how everyone thinks this game is like super post-apocalyptic? Let's just lean as hard into that as humanly possible now.
Oh no, it's not a thought. It is a definite.
It is.
Like the game confirmed it previously in Splatoon 2. The Splatoon 3 really kind of builds on that from what's in the story mode. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're just kind of going to add right onto it here because this is a story DLC. So obviously, single player DLC, you're going to build on that story stuff. So yeah, they're going to dive right in there. It looks like there's going to be some return of those other pop stars from the old games too. I can't think of their names right now. And the names that are coming to my head are definitely not correct. So, but yeah. Yeah, so you'll get those kind of Marina and Pearl, maybe? Is that what it is? I don't know.
Do not remember.
Yeah, don't remember off the top of my head. I'm too tired. So yeah, but it looks good. So they said it's coming out spring next year. So I'll look forward to that. I'm surprised it's gonna be that late. I figured it'd be winter, but whatever. That is what it is. Next thing on there, Mario vs. Donkey Kong's returning. This looks like it's not like Mario and the Minis, where it's kind of like that, very puzzly thing. This one looks more like it's, Mario, like Donkey Kong Mario, kind of like from Donkey Kong 95, where he's kind of acrobatic and you're jumping around the stages to, get keys and kind of follow Donkey Kong. So looks pretty good, kind of classic thing. We haven't seen one of these games in a while. I think it's 8 years since the Minis. And I think the last time we saw Mario vs. Donkey Kong that was like this was the Game Boy Advance. So it's been a while.
So I think this is actually a remake of the Game Boy Advance one, from everything I'm seeing. A lot of people are saying that it is. A lot of people are saying that it's a remake of the one from Game Boy Advance.
It is good for them because it was a fun game. Yeah, no, I didn't look more into it, and I don't remember that game well enough to be like, hey, I remember this level. I just remember, the moves and stuff. Mario was very acrobatic. So, and if you ever played Donkey Kong 95, that was a lot of fun. Mario played the same way in that game. You could do backflips and jump up on things. It was just kind of nice to move around. It was definitely more of an evolution of classic Donkey Kong as opposed to, say, like a Mario game. So it was fun. I liked it.
Okay.
Prince of Persia looked fine. I don't really have anything else to say about that. I don't know a bunch of these games, so I'm going to skip over them. They did show off the new trailer for Super Mario RPG. So they talked a bit more about the new mechanics of there. Well, they're like, we're going to show off some new and old mechanics. Okay, you showed off one new mechanic and one old mechanic. Like this trailer is a minute long. I don't know who you're playing. But they kind of showed that, obviously the timed attacks are going to be back. And also that, as you are successful with time attacks, it puts in towards the meter and you can do a triple attack with it. So looks pretty cool. Oh, they did add a couple extra things now I think about it. They did also in the trailer say that you can refight bosses later in the game. So if you want to go back through and play them again with harder difficulty, that is an option that's there for you. Also, fun fact, on the website, they did show off that in this game, you can actually switch between the Super Nintendo and the Switch orchestrated soundtrack.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So another actually like kind of real nice feature that I'm sure people will be happy with. So honestly, the new music sounds great. The old music was amazing. So you really can't go wrong with that kind of stuff. Looks fantastic. I'm excited for it. November 17th. So this one, we talked about the rumors last week, kind of a surprise. Nobody saw this coming except for whoever
the
leaked
people
it,
that leaked it.
Definitely knew. Another code, also called Trace Memory here, the Recollection. It's coming in January. It is the DS game as well as the Wii game, which did not release in the US. Correct. So you're going to get a 2-pack with both those coming out in January. I'm pretty excited for it. I think
it looks cool.
Yeah, I liked Trace Memory when it came out. I liked, we were talking about it last week, the Hotel Dusk more, but
yeah,
kind of same idea. It's kind of an adventure game with some puzzle elements where you go around and get to explore these worlds. I think it's great that they're bringing it back. I'm guessing they probably did get some success with those Famicom detective games they kind of released a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, yeah, let's bring this back. Looks good. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I thought it looked pretty nice, honestly, for
I did too.
A remake.
I think it looked pretty cool.
It has a nice art style. Like it definitely is an art style that's good
it's
for
got that aesthetic that works.
Yeah, that kind of cell shaded look.
Yeah, it's more like watercolor. It's got like watercolor painting look to it.
Yeah, I would say it's not definitely kind of storybook almost.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing, they showed off the Princess Peach game, Princess Peach Showtime.
I think this looks great.
I thought it did too.
I think this looks like a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. You know what it reminded me a lot of? Honestly,
what's that?
Wario World is what it reminded me of.
Sort of.
GameCube.
Sort of, actually.
Just kind of that brawler element that it adds to it. Like, obviously, this has a lot more than just that. And I think, too, because they show up, Peach has these different costumes depending on what she is. Gameplay kind of changes. She's in her sword fighter, very brawler looking. But then, you play as the Baker Peach, and it looks just kind of like, hey, it's it's like a decorating mini game kind of thing. You turn into Detective Peach, it looks more like an investigation kind of action adventure kind of thing.
Kung Fu Peach looked like a fighting game.
Yeah, Kung Fu Peach looked awesome, by the way. Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite designs.
Same, it was awesome.
Yeah, no, it looks like this is a really clever game. It looks like it's a great way to kind of give Peach a little bit more identity on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely better than the Super Princess Peach, where it's just like, hey, I have emotions. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered.
Yep.
I just thought it's cool that it's coming out. That's really all there is to say about it. About that, they should have more Detective Pikachu returns. I don't know. I really don't have much to say about this.
Yeah, I don't really care about that one.
Interestingly, my kind of stance on this game currently is wait and see. I'm not really like itching to buy it the day it comes out. I got enough on my plate right now. It comes out in like 2 weeks. So,
yeah, I don't really care that much.
Although I guess I am taking a plane ride 2 days before it, so that might be like a reason to get kind of sucked into it if I need something to play. But right now, or 2 days after it comes out, I can't remember which way I said it. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I like the original. I didn't like it enough that I needed day one and could wait. So.
Okay, I know you're about to skip over this one, so I'm going to stop you from doing
I was going to skip over Trombone Champ. I was going to be like, this is the game I remember you talking about before that you really liked.
Yeah, this game's great. I'm happy that it came to consoles.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we were talking about last time. And yeah, it looks like it's a perfect Switch game, honestly.
It is a great game. It is way more than you think it is. I will just leave it at that.
Okay.
It's got some elements to it that are like solving a mystery and potentially finding out that like maybe the game is possessed, or like maybe the trombone is possessed, or there's some weird horror shit going on here. There's some fourth wall breaking weird shit in this game, and it's really cool.
Is it a Devolver game?
It is not a Devolver game. I do not who makes this. I just know it's really good.
Yeah, no, it looked really like a good game. So yeah, I would definitely check it out. There's a couple on here that I remember you talking about that I was like, oh, I'll check that out. Like Dave the Diver.
Who made this? Dave the Diver's also excellent.
Yep. I was like, it's that game that Brandon talking about. I remember it. And we were like, is it going to come to the Switch? And you're like, it's gotta. But yeah. No. So
2 games from this one direct are games that I've already talked about this year and been like, play them. And you should play them both.
Yeah. So I definitely keep it on my thinking list. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
Hold on. I do want to point out there was a new Contra that got slipped in here out of nowhere, and it actually looked pretty fucking good. Did you see that one? The Contra operation.
Care about Contra, so.
Okay, well, I think if you look at the last Contra game we got and look at this, it is a night and day difference, and this one looks like it actually cares about the source material. Looks very good, in my opinion. I'm kind of excited to play it.
It didn't look bad comparatively to a lot of the other games that were in this.
And you also skipped over Unicorn Overlord, which really upsets me.
I don't even remember it anymore.
Listen, let me go ahead and fill you in on this one. It's a Vanillaware game. That is really literally all you need to know.
I don't know.
Do you not know who Vanillaware is?
No.
Odin Sphere, Dragon's Crown. Vanillaware only makes bangers. Every single one of the games they've made is like fucking phenomenal. This game will probably be excellent. This is like the sleeper hit of the Direct, in my opinion. Yes, it's going to be on other consoles, but like this game looked awesome. Looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How do you not know Vanillaware?
I didn't play any of those games you mentioned. I actually don't even know them either.
What?
So, yeah.
Don't sleep on Vanillaware. Vanillaware makes some excellent games. They made 13 Sentinels, which is also another really good game.
Yep, don't know it. Grimoire
Once More.
Nope, never heard of it.
They're all so good.
All right, I'll keep it in mind.
Muramasa the Demon's Blade.
Oh, I remember that game. I do remember that game. That one I do. Yeah. With the art style, the side scroller kind of RPG thing. Yeah. I remember that one. Oh, look at that. You finally thought of one I knew. I never played it. I owned it. I played a little bit of it and didn't get into it.
That's a shame. Yeah. Their games are...
Now you just tarnished Unicorn Overlord. No, I can't play it.
No, their games are very stylistic. And they look really good. You know, we were talking about like storybook games. That's what I would describe any Vanillaware game as. It looks like you've opened like a storybook and you're looking into it. And I really dig the way they make games.
Yeah, that's fair from the ones I know. Anyways, Luigi's Mansion 2.
Luigi's Mansion 2.
So there's I don't know if you noticed, this game actually stands out like a sore thumb on this list. Do you know why?
Why?
Because it's coming out in the summer. This Direct was specifically for like winter games. And they're like, winter games. And then all of a sudden they're like, Luigi's Mansion 2, summer. And be like, what? That's so weird. What? It's very random.
You think it was supposed to come out this year and it got delayed?
No, I don't think it was supposed to come out this year. I think it was supposed to be a spring title, was my guess. And I think it got pushed back into later in the summer. I don't know if it had to do with multiplayer, maybe. Maybe they just wanted more time to do that, because it looks like they're putting in a more featured multiplayer game. I don't know. I didn't play the multiplayer in Luigi's Mansion 3. This doesn't make me want to play it in Luigi's Mansion 2. And Luigi's Mansion 2, I think, is the weakest of the Luigi's Mansion games.
That is what everyone says.
Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, I'll probably buy it, because I'm a sucker to rebuy things I played before, and especially since I had it on the 3DS, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have it on the Switch, and I can be miserable with it on the Switch. But at least, maybe they'll fix some of the things that I didn't like about it. So...
or maybe they won't.
Or what?
Maybe they won't.
Or maybe they won't. Also a possibility. I think this is a game, if I remember, this is a game that I thought probably could have really benefited from a second stick that it did not have in the 3DS version. So that might be one thing alone that might make this a better experience. But I also kind of remember just kind of because if you remember, Luigi's Mansion 2 was built to be a portable game. Like, it's kind of mission based and very specific, and you had to kind of, everything only took a few minutes to kind of get through. So just kind of fluffing that out a little bit. I don't mean fluffing by like adding new stuff or just whatever, just making it more of a smooth kind of experience. Getting in and out might be enough to make it feel better. So we'll see. Next, they talk about Nintendo Museum, or opening museum in Japan. I don't know. That was interesting. If I could go back there, I'll go see it. But that's just not the thing. They gave Amiibos updates, which I thought was this was kind of like one of my highlights of this thing. So they gave a release date for the Zelda Amiibo, which they had previously announced, and surprisingly, they're coming out before the Splatoon Amiibo, which just went up for pre-order, I think, 2 weeks ago. So they're coming out at the beginning of November, I think 2 weeks before the Splatoon Amiibo are coming out. And hopefully you got them, because I think they already sold out very quickly.
Of course they did.
Yeah, so those are there. Sora officially announced for an Amiibo. I think we kind of that was also one of the rumor things we talked about last week.
It looks good.
It looks really good. Yeah. So they're going to patch the game so that we'll have an Amiibo, and it's going to come out sometime next year. Looks good. You can finally, finish off the set. The way he was talking about it, I was expecting to be like, and we're doing more DLC characters, so keep playing with those Amiibo, but it didn't happen. It would have been nice, but it'll just be kind of, I don't know. I definitely will feel a sense of, completeness by having Sora finally.
Mhm.
So because I don't know, I got all the other Smash amiibo. Like it's a shit ton of fucking amiibo. So just to finally be like, hey, it's the last one, that would be nice. But obviously, Nintendo has shown that they still find value in the amiibo. Like they haven't. I mean, they've slowed down on the amount they put out, but I feel like they use them more specifically now, and they treat them as kind of collector's items.
Yeah.
So they're kind of a nice way to get a cool figurine for a game that you like that might give you a couple extra benefits, but not necessarily anything that you lose out on if you don't have it. Mostly.
Yeah. True.
And then the last thing that they put out was the 2-pack amiibo for Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yep.
Which so a couple things with this one. A, it's coming out in January 19th, so very soon. 2, it is a very expensive 2-pack. It is $40 for both of those.
Oh wow. Okay.
For a reference point, the Pyra and Mithra amiibo, which just came out, were $30. So it's like $10 more expensive. Even though it doesn't seem to be noticeably different. Maybe it's in the quality of the build. I don't know. It didn't look that different.
Could it be because of the unlocks?
I doubt it.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I think a lot of the unlocks for Xenoblade 3 with the amiibo have been unlockable in the game already. So it's just a faster way to get them. Which, is kind of a nice benefit. If you're looking to use the amiibo, it's like, hey, I can get this without having to work my ass off to get it. But I can still, and if I don't get it, it's not like I'm missing out on it. But no, this is definitely weird. I mean, the pricing for the amiibos has been all over the place with kind of the last kind of batch. Like, for example, with the Zelda amiibo, Ganondorf was $20, Zelda was $16, and then you have this 2-pack for $40. So it's kind of weird. Also, if you did not pre-order this one has definitely sold out. So this one went within like seconds. Wow. I don't know why. It did not last long. Nintendo probably just was not expecting a lot of demand on it. And so but I would say, at least kind of in my experience, amiibo are much easier to get now. If you missed it, keep your eyes open. They generally do reopen again a little bit closer to launch, and on the day of, there generally seems to be a decent amount of stock in stores. So if you do not get it beforehand, don't think you're not going to get it. Just keep watching.
Okay. I want to skip everything to the next two, and I'm not going to because I want to point out something. I think it's really weird that we got 2 League of Legends spin-off games announced during a Nintendo Direct.
Oh, I did not notice they were both League of Legends spin-offs.
Both of them are League of Legends spin-off games. So Song of Nunu, which is a 3D platformer, and Bandletel, which is a life sim game. 2 very different kinds of games, and they are both tied to League of Legends. I just thought that was weird. That's all.
It is weird. Yeah. I did not even realize that.
Yeah.
I think I zoned right out when I saw them.
It's totally fine. I completely get it. I do think the Bandletel looks like fun, because I like life sim games. I think they're fun and relaxing. So, yeah, I kind of dig that one. But, like, just in general, I think it's really weird that we're getting so many spin-off things for League of Legends now, and that so much so that we got 2 of them in one Nintendo Direct. It's just odd.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. WarioWare Move It, November.
I think this looks great.
I was going to play this. The more I see of it, the more excited I get for it. It reminds me of the Wii one, except even crazier.
Mm-hmm.
So I really kind of like what's there. And some of the mini games that they've shown off look like they're kind of derivative of the Wii game. In some ways, like some of those weird kind of spandex dancer things. So
yeah,
I think it looks great. I'm really excited to see, and it looks like they're using like the infrared features and things like that for it as well, like where they show you point at the controller.
So it's Trumbull Champ. Trumbull Champ also uses infrared.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the next game. It's happening. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This was a Kickstarter
which
game.
games left on here I want to talk
about. Eledian Chronicle 100 Heroes. This was a Kickstarter game from back early 2020. It was announced, and this is supposed to be a spiritual successor to a game called Suikoden, if you know of that game on the PlayStation 1. Yep. It has a lot of the people that originally made Suikoden working on it. A lot of artists and developers from that series working on this, and it was thrown up on Kickstarter. It did really, really well, making 53. I don't know what this is. Hold on, let me try to do this to what is this to American dollars? Let me figure out what this is. $3.2 million on Kickstarter. And it was supposed to release towards the end of this year, so it's a little bit past the mark releasing next year. But I think this game looks excellent. It looks a lot like Suikoden. It looks like a really classic JRPG, similar to something like Xenogears or Suikoden, like I said before. And I think this game is going to be like a lot of fun. I do think this is one to look out for, and will probably end up being a sleeper hit when it does release. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that it's a Kickstarter game that is actually releasing, and that from everything we've seen about it, it does look like a lot of care went into it. And I'm pretty excited for this one, to be completely honest. Okay. So, yeah. Euden Chronicle 100 Heroes is something that I would keep an eye out for. And I would also keep an eye out for Wargroove 2. If you never played Wargroove 1, you should definitely check that out when it's on sale. This is definitely much more of a fantasy-based version of something like Advanced Wars. And Wargroove 2 is the same, except more, because you can actually create and share custom campaigns and custom stages online with people. I think that's super neat. I think it's a really cool feature that could really give this game a lot of longevity. And if you look at it, it does look like it's going to be a solid title. So, yeah, Wargroove 2 looks really good as well. And then I already talked about Dave the Diver. Dave the Diver is an excellent game. It's great. Pick it up if you can. I don't know where you'll be when it comes around, but I would recommend picking up Dave the Diver right away. I do think you will have a blast playing it. It's a very fun game that definitely had a lot of care put into it, and it's very enjoyable. All right, now let's talk about what you want to talk about.
I was saying it comes out 6 days after Mario Wonder, so
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, Mario 8 Deluxe. I don't have a ton to say about this Way Pass they added.
No, not really.
Funky, Diddy, and Pauline, I think is who it was.
There's a fourth.
Did they have fourth? Who's the fourth one?
Yeah, Peachette.
Oh, forgot about that. Yeah,
as you should.
Exactly. That one was blocked out, not because I did not care. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are coming out. They showed off some of the courses that are coming to it. I mean, obviously, we'll get another look probably closer to when it comes out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean, if you like the other courses, you'll probably like this one. Not too much exciting new to say about it. So, I will say the Among Us map looked cool.
It did look like it'd be fun. Yeah, I agree.
So there's that, and then kind of the big one here is
the fucking huge one.
Yeah, Paper Mario 1000 Year Door is getting remade, and it is coming out next year. So.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. Mm-hmm. I just sold my copy of Paper Mario and its strategy guide for over $150. So I'm really glad I did that before this was announced.
I don't know. It might have brought the price up because people might have been like, "I want to play."
Never.
That. No?
Whenever a remake comes out, they plummet in price.
It's still a GameCube game, so
it
I don't know.
Plummets in price. I guarantee. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna go look right now.
Yeah.
Let's do a check, live check. All right. Paper Mario, 1000 Year Door, GameCube, complete in box. What are we looking at for price? Most recently sold. Let's go with that.
Okay.
This is a new. Okay, that's not good. $88. Yeah. 89, 99. Yeah, these are. Someone sold a graded copy for $150 recently, so that's something right there that you should probably keep in mind. $79. I would not say holding steady.
I thought you sold yours for $100 with the strategy.
$150
with the strategy guide.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
So basically, it's dropped to about 89. I sold the game for 100 and the strategy guide for $50, or I sold the game for 120 and the strategy guide for $30. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, good timing then. But no, this game looks great. I'm excited for it. It's, I would say, probably the best Paper Mario game in the series. Mm-hmm. Definitely the last kind of, core RPG one. Obviously this is back when it was kind of still the pseudo sequel to Super Mario RPG.
Yep.
And be
And also,
before they
you were kind of hesitant to say the best. No, this is the best. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is the best in the
I
entire
don't know. I really
series.
like the N64 one. The N64 one's really good too.
This is better than the N64 one.
I don't remember. I remember there being something. I mean, this is a good game. Don't get me wrong. And this is gonna make me sound like I'm poo pooing on it, and I'm not. Like, this is an excellent game. So just don't read too much into what I say, listeners and Brandon. But I remember there being a really annoying point in this game, and I don't remember what it is, and I don't remember why, and I don't remember why it was not like it was kind of an annoying thing, but I do remember it being there.
I cannot even remotely think about what you're talking about. I cannot remember any like super annoying parts in this game.
Yeah, and I don't remember what it is. Obviously we'll find out soon enough next year. We'll be able to revisit, and we will know for sure. But it is an excellent game, and obviously they done a great job updating graphics. I've seen some breakdowns of kind of the trailers and stuff that they've shown. Looks like they've added new characters in. There's more stuff there, so fair to say that this is not just your remaster. Like, it definitely has some more content in it as well, so it'll be interesting to see what all is added into it. But yeah, no, it's excellent. And it's also surprising. We have a Nintendo Direct with literally the two best Mario RPGs being remade at the same time. So I think that's pretty impressive too. So
Okay, yeah, I agree. I do think that we are having a resurgence in Nintendo RPGs now, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. Also, kind of weird takeaway here is this was I didn't realize it until a couple days after the Direct, because when I kind of let it sink in. This is a very Mario heavy Direct. And
It was.
like, because there was, I think they kind of like stuck it out because they're like, oh, it's Wario, it's Luigi, it's Princess Peach. Yeah, this is all Mario shit.
Yep.
And they surprisingly didn't even show off Mario Wonder, which they just did a Direct for last week. I figured they would have slipped a new trailer in there. But no, I mean, out of all the kind of Nintendo titles we talked about today,
Yep.
what did you have on there that it was not Mario? You had Splatoon, you had the Trace Memory, remake, re-release, Detective Pikachu, but yeah, kind of the rest of the Nintendo announcements were all Mario.
Mario Kart 8, Paper Mario, Luigi's Mansion 2,
Mario
Princess
versus
Peach,
Donkey Kong, Super
Showtime,
Mario RPG.
Mario versus Donkey Kong, Super Mario RPG. It's just a Mario kind of Direct.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wario? We're counting Wario?
I kind of Wario. It's Mario adjacent, and it's close enough.
1, 2, 3.
Was I right? I had 7.
Yep, you're right. 7's right. Double checked.
Yeah, so it is a very, very Mario Nintendo.
7 Mario announcements in one Direct. If you're a Mario fan, you probably love this Direct. If you're not, probably hit or miss.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't feel like that when I was watching it. It wasn't until afterwards I was like, hey, there's a lot of Mario stuff in here.
I absolutely did. Like, some of my favorite things. What?
You did what?
You did. I felt that way. I was like, holy shit, how much more Mario can we get in this Direct?
I mean, I didn't think about it until afterwards, because it's not just like well, I mean, you talk about like traditional Mario games. If you break it down, like the only kind of like real kind of core Mario game is Mario Wonder, which wasn't there.
Yeah,
maybe Mario versus Donkey Kong. That's probably your closest one, because it's more
just going from like Mario games in general. When I was watching it, I was like, oh shit, a Mario game. Oh, we're starting with Mario versus Donkey Kong. I don't really like that one. I don't really care that much. Hey, yay, more Mario RPG. Oh, cool, the Princess Peach game. Wait, that Luigi's Mansion 2? Okay. This Direct had a lot of stuff, but it felt very safe, and I didn't care a lot about it, except for Paper Mario.
Yeah, this was, I agree. And this was not, I would say it was not like a bad Direct by any means.
Yes. I didn't think anything was wrong with it. I thought it was fine. But I saw this when it premiered on my big TV while laying in bed. I just kind of woke up early, got some stuff, got some breakfast, all that good jazz. Sat down with Katie. We started watching it. And I was watching it, and nothing really wowed me. I was pretty hype about Paper Mario: 1,000 Year Door, but it wasn't like, jump up, be super excited kind of hype. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that, my thinking is there's probably reasons for this. And, the reasons are that anything that's worth being exciting for is being saved for the next system. I think that's the point in this lifespan that we are at right now. I mean, you think about it, if you want to look at it a different way, I already closed that window, so I'm not going to open that back up that list again. But if, kind of what we talked about with those games, even with those Mario games, how many of those games are new original titles versus remasters? So, yeah, the Princess Peach Showtime, I think, off the top of my head, right?
Yes, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, because you have Luigi's Mansion 2 remake, you have Super Mario RPG remake, Super Paper Mario remake.
I guess Wario.
Oh yeah, Wario. Yep, didn't forget about that. Yeah, the Donkey Kong versus Mario, maybe.
Everything I'm seeing is saying this is a remake of the GBA game.
Yeah. So, so there really is. I guess the Detective Pikachu, not a remake, but also it's Pokemon Company, so they kind of live in their own universe. So, so I mean, it really is kind of like, hey, we have some popular titles that we think will be a hit that we really probably won't lose too much ground with a backwards compatible system, and we think that will still generate excitement, and we know that we need to do some big hitters, so let's get them out there. Surprisingly, now I think about it, F-Zero 99 wasn't on this list, which is kind of a weird omission.
You know what? That is weird. It should be on this list because that was probably the best thing other than Paper Mario that was shown off during this. Correct.
And we did already talk about it earlier in the episode, and it was a nice surprise.
Also, I've been playing it during this episode, just so you know. It is really good.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's excellent. So it was kind of a nice surprise there. Probably one of the more creative things that they had going on. I don't know why it wasn't on that list we were using. I guess they did have one more.
It to be as good as it is. I'll just say that right now. It's stupid. It's stupid. An F-Zero Battle Royale, stupid. It works though. It works really well.
Yeah. No, it does. It's very smart. And just kind of the way that they made it work, cool idea. So, all right. You want to while us with the?
Oh yeah, let's go. All right. So let me find everything that was announced during this to help you out. Okay.
Okay.
So just so you know, it was not good, like at all, in my opinion.
No, that's what I've heard, and that's what it looked like.
Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to find something that has this in order correctly. Maybe I should just go back to. Let's see. Come on, someone has to have this in order.
I looked for one briefly earlier, and I didn't find one. I was just kind of like looked up the news separately, and I was like, "This just seems dumb." And then I gave up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through the video, all right? Because the video was like 27 minutes long, and that was it. So, we started off by opening up with a game that is made by Bennett Foddy, and if you know who that is, then you know. If you don't, I'll go ahead and inform you. So there's a game called Getting Over It about a guy who's inside of this pot, and it's like really difficult, and it's kind of like streamer bait, what all the streamers play. But it's not a bad game, and it's a very interesting and difficult game. And he apparently became big enough with Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy to have his game be the opening for a PlayStation showcase. So this state of play opened with Baby Steps, which is a game where you essentially control each individual limb of a person, and you try to walk them through all these different hazards and everything. It's kind of like crass. It's got like, F-bombs dropped for no reason whatsoever. It's very dry humor. It's kind of stupid. But it looks like it would be fun if this was like something that was thrown up on the PlayStation PS Plus thing, like a PS Plus game that they gave away for a month or whatever. It looks like it'd be a pretty good game. So it's not a bad game, and it's just a really weird one to open up with, but it does look like fun. We then went on to our next thing, which our next thing was the announcement of bringing Roblox to PlayStation 4.
Yes! That wasn't a misspeak, right? You said 4? PlayStation 4?
I did say PlayStation 4.
Okay. All right. That's awesome.
We then got a Ghostbusters. I'm going to actually post the video so you and me can kind of like skim through it together to make it a little bit easier on you. Right now I'm at 4 minutes in, so you can kind of skim with me if you'd like.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, then we got a very generic looking VR version of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it looks very generic. And,
yeah, it's not really much to it, in my opinion. It doesn't look that great. It's enough. We then moved on to what I think is probably the best announcement and thing that was shown during this state of play. Maybe the second best.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 4 Remake VR, shown alongside the new DLC for Resident Evil 4 called Separate Ways.
Yeah, which was the extra content for a PlayStation version.
Yep, correct.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think this looks like fun. I think the VR version of Resident Evil 4 Remake will be really fun, really enjoyable. I really don't have much more to say other than that's cool. Coming out in the winter.
Looks good.
And then the new DLC for Resident Evil 4 Remake with Separate Ways looks like it'd be a lot of fun as well. I also like that there's a free update that gives you Wesker and Ada Wong in the Mercenaries mode. Also very cool. I mean, not much else to say. It's good. Just like Resident Evil 4 is very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
We then moved on to Avatar, showing off the new Avatar game that's coming out finally. And we kind of found out what the game officially is, and I just could not care less. The game is officially just Far Cry with a reskin of Avatar.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, it's literally just Far Cry with a reskin of Avatar. It does not look particularly bad. It actually looks incredible graphic-wise, but also, I could not care less.
But it does look very Far Cry-ish. With the hands and everything all over the place.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be bad, but again, Ubisoft has gotten to the point where everything, when it comes to a Ubisoft game, it just doesn't look... It just looks like it was tailor-made in a lab to be a game. And that's all. Just be the baseline of a video game.
Yeah.
Nothing... There's no soul to it. There's nothing to a Ubisoft title, in my opinion. So, yeah. We then saw Ghost Runner 2, which Ghost Runner 2 it should be really good. A demo was then released for it as well. So a little quick trailer for that, followed by a demo. All right, cool, whatever. Doesn't matter. We then got this sick transition to announce new controller colors. I shit you not. It's like a 2-minute transition that is literally just announcing new controller colors.
And cover, and
a cover for the system. Yeah, it looks like that too. But it was... There's that. We then got to see... Oh my god, hold on. I gotta do this. Alright, we gotta actually sync this together. I'm gonna tell you when, alright? Go to 11 minutes. Go to 12 minutes exactly. Please.
Oh, I'm there.
I have to present to you. And I have to hear your response in real time.
Uh-huh.
The worst fake in-game chat I have ever heard. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, go. It's so bad. It is incredibly bad.
Yeah, this is how people talk.
No one talks like this. No one in a game talks like this.
I've never heard someone sound so,
interested in the game they're playing?
Yeah. There's lots of them.
Oof, got to run. Yeah, this game looks like fun, I will say.
All right,
this game does look like fun. but holy shit, the fake game chat is so bad in this video.
I hope that this is not part of the trailer. I hope it's actually the game.
The voice actors sound.
And it's just,
there's a charger here.
He's all these voice actors just record these things that will actually play in the game while you're doing deals.
You know what? I would love that if that was real. It would be so fucking funny.
Right. Oh, he killed me.
It just doesn't sound... No one sounds like this. No one talks like this in a video game. I've played enough video games with multiplayer to know that no one in the world talks like this. And it's really awful. The game looks like fun. I will say that the game actually does look enjoyable, but they could not have presented this in a worse way if they tried.
Yeah.
So we'll go on past that. Helldivers 2 looks pretty good. Their in-game voice chat looked it was not real, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
Oh no, he killed me. We then got to see some of Spider-Man 2, and I will say this looks good. Looks really good. Spider-Man 2 looks really good.
Nice.
I'm very excited for what we have here. I mean, I got no issues with what I've seen so far, aside from one specific thing, but that's not shown in this trailer, so we won't talk about it.
Okay.
But I will say the game looks great. There is another trailer, right, that was shown the next day after the state of play that shows Rhino being chased up the side of a building and like throwing cars, and they're like blowing up and all this other stuff. None of the windows on the building break while they're running up the side of the building. None of the windows break. No glass shatters, none of that. It's just the explosions from the cars that are being thrown, but like shit should have broke. It's not leaving any traces behind of like damage or anything. And it's kind of
glass, Brandon.
I guess so. I guess so. And it just kind of took me out of it a little bit. But game still looks really good. I'm really excited for it. It'll be pretty good.
No, it does look really nice.
It'll be one I get later on down the line, but I do think this will be a great game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't really have much to say about my Marvel Spider-Man other than like, yeah, it looks like fun.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sick of open world games. I know I keep saying this. I am just kind of sick of open world games and the general formula, and that may be also part of the reason why I'm reviewing Starfield so harshly as well. But like, I don't know. But this game does look excellent. I am very happy we got some Venom action in the trailer. I love Venom. So I'm excited to see what they do with him in Spider-Man 2. So there's that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move on through this trailer, but there's a lot here. And they did show off some pretty cool stuff. Like, I think they have like 60 new costumes. Wait, hold on.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, so I think 60 costumes, 200 different colorations. So that's like pretty nuts. Yeah, that's a lot. We then transition to Tales of Arise DLC. This actually is pretty cool. I like Tales of Arise. It's a very good JRPG. I think this DLC, I don't really know what we're doing here, but more Tales of Arise is good. So everything here is like okay or good. There's nothing really terrible until not Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse is also good. They showed off what's it called? Honkai Star Rail. That's it. And they announced that it's coming to PlayStation 5 on October 11th, so that's cool. But then we moved on to Foam Stars. You remember that game, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we got to see more fake-ass Splatoon for Foam Stars. And you know what? As if it couldn't be already more fake-ass Splatoon than it was, they introduced a new mode, which involves covering the map with your colors.
No.
I'm serious. Nintendo's about to sue these motherfuckers.
But there's an open beta party.
They did announce an open beta. That's what I was about to get to. I'm going to actually give this game a go when the open beta comes out, which is on the 29th. So we'll see how that goes. But it does look really bad. That's one of the bad things they showed during this. All right, hold on. We're going into the next thing. And the final thing for this state of play. We've gone through this so quickly as opposed to the Nintendo Direct, and this is shorter.
A fraction of the titles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks like Final Fantasy VII.
It is indeed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That was the last thing they showed off. And this trailer is incredible.
I mean, it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Very excited about this.
I think it's interesting that your save file doesn't do anything for this one from the previous. I figured there would be some sort of like pull over.
I didn't know that your save file didn't do anything, but also I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think they announced it maybe in an interview after this.
Well, I will also say I finished the entirety of Final Fantasy VII Part 1 remake. It kind of makes sense that it doesn't carry over for several reasons, but I'll just say, okay. They also announced that Sephiroth is playable in this one, so that's cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, playable is yep. So that's a thing. This game looks excellent, by the way. Like, I'm really excited for this, and it releases a week after my birthday because this was also them announcing the release date of this game. It's in just a few months, so there's that.
Yeah,
and they also yeah, it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
There is yeah, okay, here's what it was. February 29th, 2024 on 2-disc. So that's a thing. Probably incredibly long. A twin pack pre-order came out. There was something else. I gotta figure out where it shows it. But there was another trailer for it that said something like 3 months exclusivity. Which means what? That's what I'm curious about. What does that mean? Exclusive to PS5 and then going to what, per
PC?
se? That's what I'm expecting. But if it's going to PC that quickly, that's insane. Only having 3 months, that's crazy.
Well, Sony probably just doesn't have the money to do it anymore.
Yeah, probably they shouldn't have kept blocking the fucking HBK, ABK, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know who this lady is. I don't care.
It doesn't matter. There is no more to this. That was it. That was literally the ending. So
yeah, that looks excellent.
It does. Yeah, here it is. Not available on other formats until 5/29/2024.
Okay.
So, what do they mean by that?
Well, I mean, if you're going to say formats, that's more than one. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's coming to Xbox.
See, that would make sense, and then that would make sense for the special edition that they have that includes both games. Because the collector's edition includes both games. So if that's a thing, right? And there's a digital twin pack for it, and then 5/29/2024, it's available on other formats, and they release it on Xbox with Intergrade and Rebirth, then you get both games at the same time on Xbox.
Makes a lot of sense. It's a very appealing deal for someone like me.
And that's what I was thinking might actually end up happening. That they'd go that route, or at least the PC route that we talked about before, where it's on PC.
Yeah.
Unless there is another, maybe that PS4 Pro,
Very possible.
So I mean PS5 Pro. Sorry, not PS4 Pro. My bad. You know what I meant.
I know what you meant.
But yeah, kind of a shitty state of play.
Yeah.
Like nothing was particularly terrible, but there was no reason to have this state of play.
No. No, really. It was just to hype up excitement for Final Fantasy. Really, it seems like what it was. And Spider-Man.
It should have just been a trailer.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it does one of the things that I really don't like in the Nintendo Directs, which probably would have stood out to me more if, I had watched this live.
Oh, you said Spider-Man also. Wait, I forgot to tell you. You said, and to hype up Spider-Man also, right?
Yeah.
Guess what came out the next day?
Spider-Man.
A state of play for Spider-Man 2. So they had 2 state of plays. So they literally could have just waited.
Yeah. But I was to say, one thing I don't like that the state of play does a lot of times, and I always complain about it when Nintendo does it too, and they did not do it in this Direct. But it's where they take those kind of long plays for a bunch of games. They're like, hey, let's mess with the flow of this and talk about this game for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Like, no, I don't want to listen to this game. I'm excited for this game. I don't give a fuck about that right now. Get through the news and let me see that shit later. Which is kind of nice when Nintendo does, those standalone ones like they do with Mario Wonder. They didn't even talk about Mario Wonder in this last one because
they did do a long play with both Spider-Man and Helldivers 2 on the PlayStation 1. So
and one obviously, the Final Fantasy was a good chunk of this.
Oh, it's 3 minutes, but that was all one trailer. There was not any like gameplay and fake game chat like we heard.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, it wasn't the in this game you can go through and expect it. Yeah, no, I agree. That is a good point.
Oh no, you killed me.
Yeah. So I agree. All right. Ready to move on to the rest?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the thing I was just looking at? Nope, I don't know where this came from, and I was not looking at that. The article I had is gone. But, so Microsoft had a bunch of their court documents leaked. Apparently, they
did it themselves by mistake.
Yeah,
or on purpose.
Phil Spencer said that he came out and made a comment today, and it was basically like, "Oops, we gave them documents that should have been redacted.
Yep.
Didn't expect them to leak like this, and it's kind of like apologize. That's happened because we're really excited about the stuff that we're working on, and even though this stuff is a year plus old now, and some of these plans have changed, we really hope it doesn't take away from the excitement of stuff that we do have in store." But some of the kind of big highlights here, I think probably the biggest one is they're shooting for 2028 for their next gen system.
Oh no, we've got way more highlights. I don't know if you've seen them.
I mean, I've seen other ones, but I'm just saying I don't know. That was my highlight.
The Bethesda leaks for next year.
Yeah,
literally Bethesda games that come out next year.
But it's like all the same Bethesda games is all the same Bethesda games. I was like, okay, how many times we get a remake of
system?
I don't think they're going to do a handheld system. Do you?
There's literally a render.
No, I know.
Of it.
I know there's a render of it. I don't think they're actually going to do it. Do you think they actually would do it?
I
don't blame them for thinking about it. So let me just say, I don't blame them for thinking about it. I assume that it's something that any logical company would toy around with.
Yes. So I'm going to post in the general chat so you can see the image, right?
I saw it. It didn't look too bad.
Where it shows the new console, which has been confirmed as being real, the fucking air purifier, the cloud device, which has already been talked about, and then the handheld right smack dab in between both of them.
I saw a different render of it, I thought.
Okay, no, this was actually from the documents. This is like officially from the documents. And Microsoft's been like, hey, we hope even now that you know our plans, it won't be as like it'll still be an exciting event for you when you do get to find out more. So like here's more. Here's the air purifier Xbox
I saw that
Series
one.
X
Looks
refresh.
weird. I don't get it, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. The new controller, which will have haptic feedback like the PS5.
That's cool.
And then launch timelines. I think this is the one. Yeah, I think this is when they were gonna do some things with it. But okay, I guess the main takeaway from what I have been shown, right?
Yeah.
Is let me find it again. Okay, so fuck, where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. I found the image. The announcement of several new titles, as well as other things that were written. So, like for 2024, obviously this one's not happening, which was Elder Scrolls 6. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Whatever.
And they're basically like, this is not fucking happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Fallout 3 Remaster, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, Dishonored 3, and a new Doom DLC or expansion pack. Those are the ones that we know that currently are leaked. There's a few other things here as well. One of them was an email that leaked between Microsoft and how they'd been making little notes on what they think of individual titles and everything. And one of the notes was for the game Baldur's Gate 3. The note they left was second run Stadia PC RPG.
Huh.
So basically, they kind of bad talked a lot of things in this, or kind of gave away some of their thoughts on things in general. Some of this also had talk of like how they decided they were going to approach people about asking to put it on Game Pass, and their thoughts on putting things on Game Pass. There's some really interesting information here that makes Microsoft actually look completely awful in some cases. So
remember, they're business. Their job is
business, but they're very cutthroat with some of the things that are here in multiple different things that have leaked, such as wanting to buy Valve or Nintendo, trying to run them out of the business essentially. That shit's crazy. Did you read all that stuff?
I did see. And actually, so interesting thing. I mean, you remember back in like the original Xbox days, Microsoft kind of toyed around with the idea of buying Nintendo at that time, and they had set up a meeting, and Nintendo kind of laughed at them, and they went back home in shape. So I just kind of put this in context. These emails are from 2020, and so that email.
I mean, that's not that far back, honestly.
It's not that far back, but so when this email was written, What was the big hot title of that time?
Fuck. I don't know.
You own it. We've talked about it extensively on this podcast. What big hot titles was 2020 known for?
Well, that wasn't Elden Ring, so what was that?
Oh, Brandon, we played the shit out of this game. I think we even played it online together. Yeah.
Oh, Animal Crossing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that game is, whatever your thoughts are on Animal Crossing as a gamer, listeners, that is an extremely well-selling game and probably, pushed Nintendo Switches to like an unfathomable level of sell-through. I mean, the system was basically unbuyable during this time period, partly because of the pandemic and because of, just the Animal Crossing thing. So for Microsoft to be sitting there and be like, hey, we're waiting for Nintendo to go out of business when they're literally
printing money.
Yeah, debatably, peak, Nintendo in terms of sales and game quality for, where they are, and definitely stomping the shit out of their competitors at that very time. Kind of
absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way you come around after Animal Crossing and be like, hey, can we buy you for a reasonable price? Like, absolutely not. Like, you're insane. Like, your market value, I don't even think, you could stomach that. It make Activision look like chump change. So, yeah, there's that. So, it is interesting. The handheld thing, just kind of go back there, kind of what we saw with, Sony. Depends on what they're going to do with it. If Microsoft is going to do more of a Steam Deck kind of thing and kind of approach into that market.
Yes, and I think that would be their best course of action.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. And especially, hey, look, here's a dumbed down version of Windows that can play your Steam games or whatever. Yep. Okay, yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about, maybe the, off system requirements kind of thing,
you don't have to worry about that with Steam Deck either. I can go ahead and let you know that right now.
Well,
Steam Deck, you can just go into offline mode and you can play all your games as long as you've logged into it.
Oh no, I didn't mean like that. I meant more as not operating system wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because obviously, it would be like, hey, it's a Windows operating system, you can play Windows games. That would be my expectation, at least, if that's how they were going to do it. If they didn't do it that way, that'd be stupid. But yeah, as opposed to, more not competing directly with Nintendo and not being dumb like Sony and being like, here's a like a handheld game that you can only play in your house. So
yeah, that's the dumbest shit ever. Honestly, I can't even.
Yeah,
there's a handheld that only works on your Wi-Fi. And your console has to be turned on. And you have to own a PS5.
Yeah. Whether or not they actually would make this handheld, I don't know. But like I said, it'd be
the handheld market's blown up lately. Like Lenovo's getting into it right now. Yeah. But, you have the ROG Ally, which came out this year.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of other things that are on the back burner coming out, and then you've got all the handhelds in China that's being released. They're also making a killing right now.
Well, I think
it's the time to actually do it if they're going to.
Well, my point was it would be irresponsible for them to not at least even be toying around with the idea. So regardless of how far they're going to push it, like they would be dumb not to have something in prototype with at least kind of the plan to see, hey, would someone be interested in this? Let's do the, marketing research. Let's prototype a system. Let's get some, things ready. You just have to make it so, it can play stuff that, and be on Game Pass, really.
Yeah. I mean, they could also do it with Steam too. I mean, there's not a big deal there.
Oh yeah, no.
Steam's selling point is their OS and the fact that it makes it like very easy to use for the Steam Deck. Microsoft's smartest idea would be like to allow Steam and Epic Games and pretty much any other launcher that you can play on your Windows PC on there as well.
As they should. Like I said, I would expect this to be, a Windows operating system. And I'm just saying in terms of like baseline for what, kind of performance they're looking for, you would want it to be something that could, ideally play anything that's currently on Game Pass.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's, just kind of, that's the bar they set it there. So, you're kind of, parity with your systems and go from there. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's come out here. I'm sure a lot of the stuff that's in there is still in the pipeline. But you look at like the games list of stuff that's kind of like, hey, our fiscal releases. Like, obviously, you can already see that some of these things don't exist in the time frame that they said they were. So it's possible that they may not exist. Like Indiana Jones.
Let's be honest, it could have gotten delayed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like this year, they're expecting the Starfield DLC. Oh nope, that was last year. My bad.
Yep, that was last year.
Yeah, so Indiana Jones last year. Like a lot of these things, were already have slid past their dates.
Yeah, you're correct. What I'm saying is like this is something you can look at and be like, this is things that may be in the pipeline that's coming in the future that got pushed back and will be better now, such as Dishonored 3, such as Tokyo, Ghostwire Tokyo, such as a Oblivion remaster, which is listed here for 2022, which if you didn't take that into account and we're in 2023, would probably get an actual announcement in 2024 and a release by the end of the year. So like the stuff that's here in 2024 probably been pushed to like 2026, 2027 to be more fair. But it probably is stuff that exists. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. So I actually kind of take a different kind of look at it. When we're looking at this, we look at 2022. A lot of those things haven't happened yet. This really is a case of kind of like the butterfly effect kind of thing. You look at this list was made, at least 3 years ago, if not 4.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's a 2020 on there, assume it's 2020 at the earliest or the latest it could have been made. This could have been, even before that. But you kind of look at things like, oh, okay, maybe Ghostwire Tokyo didn't do as well as they expected it to, and any potential sequel that they may have been considering got scrapped. Well, that causes a butterfly effect to the rest of the things. Okay, well now we're not going to have the Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, so we're going to use that team for something else. So that already kind of changes that projection. If that was something that did happen. I mean, they may make a sequel to it. I don't know. I just use an example. Starfield. Maybe they were planning on the Starfield team working on jumping ship to Elder Scrolls 6 and helping pull that through. Well, Starfield didn't get released for 2 more years. Yeah. So now all of a sudden, that team that they thought they were going to have free for other things got pushed to something else. So, these things were probably what they projected at that time, but because of all these delays and changes and obviously the effects of the pandemic, which probably weren't even in their minds when they made this list, probably everything that's after, 2021 is just kind of like, we hope, we dream. It's based on what was going on 4 years ago and not really reflective of what's now. But you are right. These are things that they were considering. And so some of these things they may still be considering. Like the Obsidian remaster, that, or Oblivion remaster.
Yeah.
That's fucking coming. Like it doesn't, there's no way that they won't do it. It'd be dumb not to do it, just printing money. Why would you not make that game? People will buy it and they want it. So, yeah. And obviously it's something that, if you figure this was 2020 when they made it, this list, they probably already a team at least prototyping such a thing. So it's coming. But yeah, no, it is interesting looking to, Microsoft, where they are at the time, what they're thinking, where they're going. But it's also, as you pointed out, it's a good reminder that Microsoft is also a company that wants your money, and they're kind of a monopoly in some ways sometimes. And they really will do what they need to do to get your purchases. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I just this leak kind of made them look a lot more cutthroat than they pretended to be. Basically, is what I was going to say at the end of the day. And I mean, that is just how a business works. And some of the things in here kind of shitty. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Because like I did bring up the Baldur's Gate 3 thing.
Yeah.
Where they basically were like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Second-rate RPG, it's Stadia kind of game, doesn't matter. That could not be further from the truth if you look at how well Baldur's Gate 3 has done.
It is, but, also kind of the same thing, butterfly effect. You think about it, how long has Stadia been dead? When they originally saw this game, assuming these documents are all around from the same time frame, we're talking 3 at least years ago, when they saw Baldur's Gate 3 at that time, it may have legitimately been a shit game that they didn't think was going to go anywhere. and they would have been like, hey, no, we got to do better quality than this. Let's take it back and rebuild this thing. It happens. A lot of games go through different development phases and start over and, scrub things that don't work. At least the good games do.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 famously was scrapped completely like 4 different times before they settled on what.
That's true, and they ended up making Devil May Cry because of it at one point.
Yep. Exactly. So, and then it's kind of another example of kind of butterfly effect things. I mean, who knows what happens when they're working on some of these games and they're like, "Hey, this is an idea. We were working on this for this other thing, but maybe it'd make a better game on its own." And sometimes you get spin-offs of that. So, and we've definitely seen games over the years that when they announce them, they look like shit. Then they kind of disappear for a while, and they come back and they're like, "Hey, this looks a lot better than how I remember it being."
Hey, remember those games that get announced and they look like shit, and then they come out and they are actually shit? Yeah, good times.
Yes,
good times.
That does happen too. But as I said, just maybe to give Microsoft maybe a little, benefit of the doubt. If they saw Baldur's Gate, 3 years ago, and they're talking about it, and it was a plan for the Stadia at some point, it probably was kind of a shit game.
I think 4 years ago is when it was released in early access, and it was doing fucking incredible. But yeah, I don't know. I think this might just be them being full of themselves in this case. I don't think there's a point in time where Baldur's Gate 3 has been released to the public that anyone has said this game looks like shit. So.
Well, I mean, this was probably before public, I would think. These lists.
I mean, maybe, but also this was 2020 that this came out, so yeah.
No, I'm saying because they show off a lot of stuff to publishers, obviously, because they want to get money for them or whatever. So I mean, it makes sense that it could be. But I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure Ubisoft was like, oh my god, look at our new Just Dance game.
Yeah, that's in this list also. If you
no, I know it's not. And they're like, I mean, they expected, but it's even though they expected to be the kind of the same amount of money, they're like strong holiday family play. So
yeah,
I don't know if it necessarily means that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be bad, but
I mean, it's not. Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the best games this year.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah. I'm just saying maybe from their notes what they were talking about. So. Anyways, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't think I have anything else. I think we've talked about a shit ton, to be completely honest.
A shit ton today. Games.
Lots of games.
All right. You ready to wrap up then?
I think I am.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. Everybody find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. What else did I tell you? Game-crunch.com. That's where you can get all our old episodes. And if you want to reach out to us, we're on Facebook, or you can send us an email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon.
Hey.
Any final thoughts?
No, I am absolutely done. I am checked out.
Same. That said, my name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online. I'm Clash of Penguin there or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on. I thought I was already in here. Hello.
Oh, yeah, I was surprised you weren't, because I saw you were doing Mortal Kombat, and I was like, oh, I'm surprised Brandon's just not hanging out on the channel, too.
Yeah, I thought I was. I guess my Discord crashed or something. Probably an update.
Sounds about right.
Oh, it's just a thing Discord does from time to time. Crash and update.
I mean, granted, it's pretty stable, but it is...
Yeah. But when they have an update, Discord will literally crash itself to force you to take the update. Like, that's something I've noticed. It sucks.
It's a very Windows way of doing things.
Kind of. Well, actually, not really, because I would say since Windows 10, you can just tell Windows, no, I don't want to accept your updates. And they're like, but you might need updates. And I'm just like, fuck off. And then I don't update it for like a month. Just there's like 20 updates by the end of the month, and it's like maybe you should download those updates. And then when my game finally tells me, oh yeah, so this requires Windows Update number 19KJ43276, as well as a graphics driver update in order to run. I'm like, maybe I should install that Windows Update.
Yeah, I almost actually went back and when I was talking, I was like, I almost retconned myself, and I was like, well, old Windows, because I remember how I know it's not as bad anymore, but I know it used to be really bad.
Oh yeah, it used to be awful. I sworn I had there we go, crackers and Swiss cheese. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I got some games to talk about today.
Oh yeah,
I got some conversations that I've had with other people to talk about today as well.
Okay. I mean, this should be a pretty packed episode.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to talk about.